Hey guys, this is going to be a 10-question quiz in which college essay is better. Now, I'm a college consultant, so I've been coaching students through the college essay writing process for over a decade and a half. My last year's cohort of students that I worked with, of those that got back to me, 50% of them got into their #1 choice school, and among them are schools like Harvard and Stanford and Yale and really good institutions, Columbia. You can see the list on my website if you want to go check it out. But I'm going to go through what worked, what didn't work. Let's start with #1. Essay A, my fear of vomiting, or choice B, my fascination with animal scat. I'm going to say B is the winner here. Just like shocking people or like jolting them into paying attention doesn't automatically make your essay great. Your goal is not just to shock people. Your goal is to get people's attention, but with the purpose of revealing something about yourself. So the scat essay actually revealed a lot about the student and his intellectual curiosity, his desire to study science and the natural sciences, and how even something as gross as animal scat can tell us so much about the environment, about these animals. That was a great essay. The vomit essay never saw the light of day. Next up, A, my brother's autism, or B, my idea to improve street lamps. Well, I'm sure there's some essay on improving street lamps that was probably good. In this case, the street lamp essay just was not very convincing. If you can warm our hearts, and as long as the essay focuses on how this particular circumstance affects you, it can be really powerful to write about your family. So I always say family is at the top of my list for essay topics. It doesn't mean you can't improve street lamps, but you gotta honestly ask, do you actually have a good idea, or is it not that great of an idea? Ask your friends, ask your teachers, and pray that they're honest with you. How I upped my GPA, or what I think of as I walk to my locker every day. Now, I know most of you are thinking that walking to your locker sounds pretty boring, but that was actually the better essay. And the takeaway here is that your essay topic doesn't matter as much as how you write your essay. The walking to the locker essay was brilliant. It was a philosophical piece about how this kid thinks, how he thinks of the world, how he takes 5 minutes out of his day every day to meditate and think about how he's going to make a difference. In general, I don't like essays about how you got an A, how you upped your GPA. I've heard it before. It's kind of boring. I want to know more about you, not just about how you got good grades. I already know that from your transcript. Next up, A, how I'm great at Rubik's Cube, or B, how I'm a cheerleader, but I'm skeptical of the whole ordeal. The skeptical cheerleader essay in my book wins. It's cool to be skeptical of even the things that you do. I mean, we're all human, and I think being able to see the world in gray instead of black and white is something that can be really interesting to colleges. Being great at the Rubik's Cube, it's a game, it's a toy for kids, and though it's kind of cool, I've read that essay like 5 times. I've had like 5 Rubik's Cube champions in my life that I've coached. And if I've seen 5, like somebody at Yale, I swear they get Rubik's Cube every year. It's not as original as you think it is. It's not as quirky as you think of it is. And it doesn't really show me anything necessarily about you, right? A, how I encouraged my mom to be a stand-up comic, or B, my fascination with Middle Eastern mystic poetry. Though I love the Middle Eastern mystics essay, this essay from this girl who convinced her mom to be a stand-up comic is one of the best college essays I've read in my life. It's so good. And it was published by the New York Times. So you can go read it on the New York Times website. We will put the link in our blog, and the link to our blog is in the description. You can also read instead of watch this video if you're like, Brooke, you are too slow. I want to know the quiz faster. So the thing to learn here is I think a lot of people assume that I can't write an essay about someone else. It has to be about me. But oftentimes we learn about you through your relationships with other people. And that's something that I think a lot of students overlook. So remember, to learn about you, I need to see the actions you take and the choices you make, but you can make those actions and those choices in your relationships with others. And often, right, if you're encouraging your mom to do something, that's you acting. I don't live in a world by myself, and I really hope you don't either. And if your essay only talks about me, I, you just sound selfish. You're gonna tell stories, hopefully. And if you tell stories, there should be other humans in them. And there may even be a star. And that star might not be you, but as long as you are the person taking action, as long as you are the person who we see developing and who we see expressing your thoughts and your desires, it can totally work. So check out that essay. How I didn't like my internship, but that process helped me figure out what I might be interested in. Or B, how I overcame my depression. I do not recommend talking about mental health. And I've really doubled down on this, especially post-COVID. Like, people don't want to hear about it. It's scary for colleges to be taking on someone with mental health issues. So I recommend that you don't disclose it and you find something else to write about. I've got a whole video on it. If you want to check that out, go do so. Okay. Next up, how I work through my ADHD to study smarter, or my coworkers at Domino's Pizza have taught me so much. So the Domino's Pizza wins. If you paid attention to my last one on mental health, you'll know disclosing your ADHD is probably not a good idea. But quirk works. Colleges love quirky essays, and also like the unexpected, that you learned something awesome from working at Domino's, right? That's kind of a cool narrative. If you happen to have worked fast food, that can make for a really interesting essay. That is also, so the Domino's Pizza essay is also a New York Times essay, so you can read that on its website. We will link to that in our blog, which you can find in the description. Just a quick break. If you are looking to write a college essay, I coach people through the college essay process, and you can find out more about me and the team that I work with. We have lots of awesome storytellers who've gone to places like Stanford and Duke. You can check those out at supertutortv.com/tutoring. And if you're trying to up your college game on test scores, we also teach SAT and ACT prep. We have a digital SAT course coming out with practice tests if you need more material for that. We have awesome practice tests that I've co-written with other tutors that I encourage you guys to check out. SupertutorTV.com is where you can find all of that. Next quiz. Essay A, how I built a plane, or Essay B, how breaking my arm inspired me to study medicine. The plane essay was hilarious and awesome and crazy, and it was so good. The arm breaking essay, I now want to be a doctor essay, or whatever ailment it is, I've heard it before, it's not that interesting. If you are actually interested in medicine and you can't get away from it because your transcript is just like pre-med all over the place, don't talk about how you got sick and then you love doctors. I'm more interested in how have you pursued this interest, especially if you're applying to like BSMD programs. I want to know, who have you shadowed? What jobs have you done in public health or medicine in some way? Have you trained to be an EMT? What steps have you taken to try to explore the healthcare field? That's what I want to know more about. Next, A, why I homeschooled because I don't like traditional school. Or B, I run a community service organization with the homeless, but I'm not going to change the world with it. So you've got to really be careful about the message that you're sending. The homeschool essay sent the totally wrong message. It was like, I can't stand traditional school. And when you're applying to a traditional college or university, that's a really crazy message to be sending, because it tells me maybe you'll come for a semester, decide you don't like it, and then drop out and fly around the world like you did when you homeschooled. The second essay, on the other hand, it might sound bad at first that I created this community service organization and it's not going to change the world. That might sound negative, but the student continued to say, but if I attend your university, I can study urban development through these courses, through this particular pathway, and I can gain the tools to change the world and to make a difference in the world. But I can't do it now because I'm just some 16-year-old kid with peanut butter and jelly. And that was a really powerful message because it was authentic, because it was real, and because it didn't sound like some teenager was trying to say that like, I've accomplished so much and I'm so amazing. Sometimes you guys are melodramatic with your accomplishments. All right, next up, how I tutored in a poor province, and how I've modeled my life after my favorite Bollywood character. So it is true that I do recommend that you don't randomly bring up an overrepresented culture in your essays, and I say the opposite if it's underrepresented. I will say people from South and East Asian descent tend to be overrepresented in the highly competitive admissions game. But this person had so much gusto and energy and pizzazz. It was so entertaining to read that essay. It was really fun. I always say go big or go home. If it fits you, if it fits your personality, and you really feel like you can convey your best self with it, go for it. You can break Brooke's rules if it's a good story. Story wins at the end of the day. I've tutored children in a poor province. Man, our community service essay's hard to write. I've been reamed over the coals for knocking community service as something that makes you stand out in college admissions. You can watch that video over there along with another 1 million something people. It is really hard to pull that off without just sounding like, I love sharing and caring, right? And just being insincere and boring. So stay away from the community service essays unless you have a really good angle. You know, just tell the best story you can. Find your best story, tell the best story, fill it with life, fill it with you, fill it with energy, and hopefully it will be really great. And there you have it. How did you do on this quiz? If you got 10 out of 10, well, you're ready to write a winning essay. If you got less than that, definitely check out what we have in terms of college essay coaching, because we'd love to make sure that you don't make the wrong choices when you're trying to figure out which is your best story to tell. SupertutorTV.com/tutoring or /essay. You're gonna find out more about us. And like I said, we've got lots of test prep stuff too. We've got self-paced courses for the SAT and the ACT. We've also got tutoring for that. We have tutoring for AP tests. We'd love to help you out with whatever it is that you're working on. And above all, I hope you subscribe here and on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can follow us in all those places. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.